is Randolph Macias with the Uncensored Voice. Welcome back to the show, guys. Today I'm in Boerne, and behind my left is the Black Rifle Coffee Company. And behind the camera is the gazebo, and looks like it's 10 minutes behind schedule. But anyway, I just want to do this video to let you guys know of who's running for office. I know it's not really in this area, but I thought I'd just do it because the people need to know. All right, let's go to State Representative District 118. District 118, we have a Democrat by the name of Katie Farias, and we have Adam Sawyer for District 118, and Lujan also for State Rep District 118. Now, Lujan and Sawyer are Republicans, and Farias is a Democrat. Let's see if we can take this seat, guys. And there's a possibility that Nicola Hood might be running for State Representative District 122, but that remains to be seen because he hinted at it and it was published in the Express News, I believe, but as of right now, we just don't know. I'm kind of leaning toward I hope he does it, because if he does, I think it would be very good for someone of his caliber to take a stand. And what I admire about this man are his Judeo-Christian principles that he lives by. And it was an honor to hear what he had to say about what he has accomplished and what he hopes to achieve, possibly in District 122. So that being said, we have U.S. District 20 coming up for grabs. Although I need to confirm the candidates for that race, we definitely want a Republican. We want the Castros out. We don't want them anywhere near San Antonio ever again. The Democrats and the liberal left are obsessed with power. Power that they don't want to be measured. As you know, before, Joe Biden, the so-called president of the United States, has mandated that any company in the United States, he directed the Department of Labor, that is, any employer with over 100 employees, he has mandated to be vaccinated. Now that, in my opinion, and I'm sure will be proven in the courts, is an excessive outreach of executive authority. Now what I think his cronies are doing, and what I think his handlers and his woke advisors are trying to do, they're trying to see how much power they can grab and throw it at us, at the American people, to see how much they can get away with without being challenged in the courts, or when they do get challenged in the courts, see how far they can get away with it before the courts say no or limit their power. Already on the border, what has happened is it has been ordered that the Biden administration reinstitute the Stay in Mexico policy. The Stay in Mexico policy was required to be implemented within, I think it was last Saturday or the Saturday before that, but the Biden administration only wants to do the very minimal of the Stay in Mexico policy. Now, I don't know if the judiciary has defined exactly how much of the Stay in Mexico policy should be re-implemented, but it is clearly causing a disaster to our community, to law-abiding American citizens. But what I really get angry about is, why is the Biden administration so hell-bent on getting Americans vaccinated to the point that he affects 100 million Americans, and he doesn't care about the 20 to 40% COVID-19 positive symptomatic people coming in through our southern border from anywhere from 65 to 100 countries from around the world, not to mention the Afghan refugees that have been coming in from all over the world who have not been vetted. And contrary to what Jen Psaki has said, she said they are all thoroughly and fully vetted. Well, we have evidence that there is a sexual predator that was booted out of this country by President Trump, is now back in the United States because he was not fully vetted. What happens then? What happens once we find out that they did not pass the vetting process? The main thing that they did not get before they left and arrived on our soil was that interview. They are required to be interviewed before entering into our country. They just jammed onto the plane. They were falling to their deaths from about 1,000 feet, approaching takeoff velocity, These people wanted to get the hell out of Afghanistan. They had enough. They said, we are afraid, we want to get out. While Americans during that same exact period of time were stuck behind the airport gates and walls. Okay, there are some Americans still in Afghanistan. Since my last video, I have seen that there has been one plane that has departed and landed in Qatar. It remains to be seen how many Americans are on that flight, how many Afghanistan refugees or whoever the hell else from any other country is on that flight, and who will make it to the United States. I hope that at that point in time they get vetted then, because if they don't and they end up here in the United States, the blood is on Joe Biden's hands. The blood is on Joe Biden's hands for what goes on in Mexico, because these coyotes are coming in charging thousands of dollars per head. They get to the United States. The Border Patrol is like a welcoming committee at this point. But let's get back to Afghanistan. Secretary of State Blinken said, you know what, we had told these people for 20 plus years, you need to go. So he essentially is blaming Americans for staying in Afghanistan. But what was really the problem is that he took the military out first, and he didn't care about anybody else. He left all $50 billion of our equipment there, which is now being inventoried by China, okay? Because whatever the Taliban can't operate, or if it's too technologically advanced for them to operate, they'll sell it to China. China's taking inventory right now. I'm sure Russia is as well. That's our equipment. They owe us a $100 billion judgment for the 9/11 attacks. So we're just going to add on another $50 billion to that because of what Joe Biden did. We're like in the we're in the 9th month of this botched presidency. I believe Arizona wants to decertify their vote that was in favor of Joe Biden. Evidence is mounting like crazy of the election fraud that has been taking place in this country, but our Supreme Court will not hear it. I want to know why our Supreme Court will not hear it. The man in office, in the Oval Office, is destroying this country. He's plundering our wealth. He's doing everything for the illegals and the foreigners coming into this country than he has ever thought possible to do for an American citizen, a law-abiding citizen. And what about our veterans? In California, there's land that they're camping outside of that was donated to them. And they're camping outside, and the person representing that district doesn't give a near, doesn't care about the pleas for help in that district, because in California, they just sit there and they occupy a seat and they have status and prestige, and they really don't care. Kind of like Nancy Pelosi in her California drug-infested, poverty-stricken district. California is not California anymore. Something has to change. Kamala Harris is going to be much worse, because she actually, hopefully, can think, but at a much more dangerous level than Joe Biden. Joe Biden admits on many occasions that he's being directed what to do. This guy is a puppet president. He is nothing. He is being ran by a group of woke liberals that tell him everything to do, when to squat, when to turn, when to blink his eye, how to respond, and still he messes it up, and it's clear for all the American public to see. I say we need to put a stop to it immediately, and we need to bring law and order back to this country. As I stand here in the Boerne center of town, this peaceful community here, I'm sure, has had their issues with illegal immigrants in their county, in their city. God knows in San Antonio we've had it, but I've been all the way up to Midland, and I've been all the way down to the border of Texas, down to Brownsville, and it's amazing where these people get bussed off to. They're being salt and peppered all over this country. All over the country. Just think about that for 2 seconds. And it's a foregone conclusion that 99% of them, when they're able to vote in the first year, will vote Democrat. The Democrats know this. They want to hold on power so bad, they'll do anything. They're breaking laws as we speak, and executive authority is being abused, and it needs to stop. But as of right now, this executive order does state that any employer in the United States with 100 or more employees are required to be vaccinated. I happen to be self-employed, so that does not affect me, but I can imagine those who do not want to be vaccinated are going to challenge this law immediately. I know that there's lawsuits as we speak challenging this, because when we passed our most restrictive abortion law here in the state of Texas, there were 5 lawsuits on the ready, and boom, they got filed. One of them was with the ACLU, and Merrick Garland, maybe because he's just pissed off he didn't get to the Supreme Court, says this is clearly constitutional. When you take away rights, or when you restrict rights, for example, the Second Amendment, they have been chipping away at the Second Amendment over and over, a little more, a little more, a little more, a little more. California and New York, I think, being the most restrictive states in this union to get a gun lawfully, to get any firearm lawfully. But when we put restrictions on abortion, well, that's clearly unconstitutional. So you can see clearly how one side tolerates the chipping away of our freedoms, and how one clearly doesn't when they're in power. They're getting drunk on power, and there's payoffs happening. Merrick Garland is an idiot. He does not know what the hell he's doing. He is hell-bent on destroying this country. We did not outlaw abortion in this state. We simply restricted it, just like they do with the Second Amendment in all of our states, some more than others. We restricted it to 6 weeks or before, and it gives the power to the people to sue doctors, citizens in the state of Texas, to sue doctors who perform abortions after this 6 week period. And Planned Parenthood is no longer doing abortions in the state of Texas that are after 6 weeks, because now there's a liability. They can be sued. And I hope that we also find a way to defund them, because I don't want my tax dollars going to pay for abortions at any stage, because that is what I believe the Hyde Amendment is restricting. It's restricting public money to perform abortions. They want to get rid of that amendment and allow public money to perform abortions in this country. But as of right now, if Joe Biden was not paying attention to our pleas for help on the border, he sure as hell is paying attention now, because now we struck a nerve with our abortion law, which has the entire spotlight of the country right on Texas. And you know what? That's what makes Texas so beautiful. I love this state. I love this country. I like Boerne, Texas, even though I live in San Antonio. But you know what? The madness has to stop, and it needs to stop immediately. Anyway, this is Randolph Pasillas from the UnCensored Voice, saying God bless America and the great state of Texas.